Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bold Analysis. Today, I want to speak about something known as cumulative damage. And I'm going to look at this in the context of the two statements that HOS, yours truly, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, made in Mombasa with a very good illustration drawing an example from Raila Mass Action. Before getting into that, I want to humbly request you that if you're watching our videos for the first time, take a moment and subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our video. We normally say that when you click the notification, you're not going to miss a single video from us. And on a very sad start, I want to issue my condolences also on behalf of my family to my good friend Baba Mona. I need to tell you guys, because he became a fan and then a friend and a family friend, very close. But then he passed on yesterday, going home. Now, may God comfort the family, the wife there. I know all of us will go to the other side of life. It's a very sad ending to that. He was a very staunch Azimio supporter, guys. So if you can check out his TikTok videos. He was doing this, but in TikTok. Now, I'm speaking about stress cycle with an alternating stress that has a possibility of creating a permanent damage. Now, cumulative damage ends up creating a permanent damage. I want to speak about these two instances. When Dr. William Samoei Ruto was in Mombasa and made a very ridiculous promise that they're going to issue each family in this country with a gas cylinder. I want you to listen to that here.
Kama nyumba yao, na ndio tumesema we are starting the journey ya kuhakikisha kwamba tunakomesha kukata miti, tunakomesha mambo ya kutumia kuni, na nimesema ndani ya miaka mitatu kila jamii, kila nyumba katika taifa letu la Kenya tutakuwa na mtungi wa gas ambayo itakuwa imepatiwana na serikali. Kina mama wetu wengi wanapata madhara makubwa ya magonjwa na matatizo mengine kwa sababu ya kutumia kuni na moshi na mambo yale mengine ambayo yanaambatana na hiyo kazi. We have said that as the government of Kenya, in the next 3 years, we want to make sure that we have enough gas cylinders, and we will subsidize so that every homestead will have a gas cylinder. So, and we are now going to issue new regulations. Every building, every.
This is the Bible, eh? This is my Bible. It's good news. It says, just say the truth. You better promise. You better fail to promise than promising what you cannot do. It's because one of the things that will create accumulative damage on yours truly is promise unmet. But then you can ask, how many promises? You can keep stock of yours truly promises. You can keep stock. Because how is it possible to give each household gas cylinder? Look at it. A gas cylinder, empty, I think goes at 3,000 if I'm not wrong. How many families do we have here? What is the viability of giving each family's gas cylinders? Lakini unajua mimi nasema shida moja tu na kwanga nayo na William ni uongo. Mimi hiyo ni shida moja tu. Now he said that in the same Mombasa, he responded to the Raila statement on economy saying this here.
Wa Kenya. Sote tumekubaliana mambo ya uchaguzi iko nyuma yetu. Nafasi tuliyoko nayo sasa, na ndio kazi nimekuwa nikifanya kwa miezi 5 zilizopita, ni kudhibiti hali ya uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya. My first assignment the last 5 months, subsidies. That is why today the economy of Kenya has stabilized, and I want to assure all our citizens that we will not go back to reckless borrowing. We will not go back to subsidies that benefit brokers, cartels, and people who are politically correct. We will not go back there. We are going to promote instead production, and that is why 4.5 million farmers today are accessing fertilizer that we have subsidized as government so that we can support our production and eliminate the challenges of high cost of living. We are on that trajectory. There is no need for others to threaten others with demonstrations. You had 5 years of the handshake shenanigans, and that is the reason why the cost of living is where it is today. I have...
So guys, if unajua, it is very good when you are on podium, and I don't know, sometimes leaders try to handle matters as if they're not dealing with the population. You know, they try to make some statements that looks like they're made in the cabinet meetings or in some boardroom somewhere. But imagine, you're speaking to the population. You know, how can you say that you've stabilized it? Where? Now, what is the indication? As in where? How? What? What, for the economists around here, maybe we are not getting it wrong. Maybe we are so much looking into it in terms of politics. Just tell us, in the comment section, some 2 or 3 indicators that economy has stabilized. Just simple. Because our inflation is still high. As the last time I confirmed, I think that was January, we were doing 9.1. We were doing 9.1 in January. Our debt, we are still heading to parliament to even increase the debt ceiling so that we can still continue borrowing. The latest report, we were in the list of those who are at the risk of defaulting. Yeah. As we talk now, counties, we've not paid counties. The exchequer have not given counties for the last 4 months. Universities are struggling with pending bills. Counties are struggling with pending bills. National government is struggling with pending bills. Hiyo yenye imekuwa stabilized wapi? You know. Jamani, hapana. You know, hapana. Manota amora. That's why I say Manota. That one is not there. Now, you know, those kind of statements is what I say that we try sometimes to be, as much as you are responding to Raila. You know, that was in response to Raila Odinga's demands of the 15 days ultimatum. Now he's saying, msinipige kelele, I have destabilized the economy. I have stabilized it in the last 4 months. What was it destabilized? Mimi sikuipata vizuri. But I said he has stabilized it. So, you're responding to Raila, but you're not responding to Raila in some boardroom. Kenyans are saying, you know, watu wanalala njaa bado. The prices of goods are still high. That's the truth. Even people are still seeing it. But when someone unasimama in podium unasema, I stabilized it, so I should not be told X, Y, Z. I'm like, hey. Now, that is what I call cumulative damage, because you can't be repeating it. And now that Ruto is a sitting president, he risks suffering cumulative damage because, you know, it started from the campaign. By December, kila mtu atakuwa na NHIF. I remember those things. You know, we overpromised and we did a lot of things, said a lot of things, but now we cannot do it. So, lying from the campaign pledges up to now, government, now things going on again, still promising without delivering, it will inflict a permanent damage. And the permanent damage will be inflicted by these cumulative circles of promise that, talking about this. Let me give you a good example. I want us to look at Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga is one of the persons that suffered this cumulative damage, especially in our political arena. Remember, since the days of 1963, the days of the founding father Jomo Kenyatta and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, there have been a rift between, it's some imaginary rift between the lake and the region, and the mountain. And that rift came to even a point when, after the father had even died and gone, when Raila remained in the fold, Raila became something like, I don't know what. A lot of stories were told, oh jamani mganga, oh jamaa sijui violence, oh jamaa sijui damu, oh jamaa sijui nini. There are a lot of things that were said on Raila Odinga, and all of that was, they were told to the generations. Even today, there's still some other myopic Kenyans. What has helped a bit is the learning. Sasa watu wamesoma tajua hizi zilikuwa vitu za siasa. But there are still some people who are still ingrained into those theories. The theories that were said on Raila Odinga have inflicted a permanent injury. And if you want to know what I'm saying, look at 2022, last general election. It really took Uhuru Kenyatta camp a lot of time and a lot of resources to try to talk to the community, telling them that what was said on Raila Odinga was a lie. Now, that is why I normally tell you, Raila has suffered that cumulative damage. And there is nothing new you can say on Raila Odinga that has never been said. I tell you that. I normally tell politicians that Raila is the candidate who, hakuna kitu hata akisema anavai president leo, hakuna kitu yenye utasema hajaisemwa. Everything you've said, and you cannot get anything new, and that's why I said my position is very clear. Nipatie Kalonzo. Nipatie Kalonzo. I know it's a default ticket, but give Kalonzo to face off with William Ruto. Or in a very unexpected circumstance that Musalia Mudavadi faces with William Ruto, you will see a contest. You will see a contest. And that is why even the contest of Raila and Ruto with Martha Karua brought in a new, because everything had been said about Raila, and Kalonzo Musyoka ticket had also been demonized. So when Martha Karua brought in, it really had the touch. That's what I'm saying. We need to look at it differently. Now, Ruto sits in the office of the presidency, and he can succumb to this permanent damage once on this front. It will water down his brand of politics, and this can be a nightmare to outdo. Yes, it will be a nightmare because what Watakwasha believe, that is it. The other second thing here is Kenyans will lose trust in the leadership, and it will be a plateau. To reach into a plateau where hakuna kitu utasema yenye watu watakuchukulia serious. Because we're like, huyu jamaa anatudanganyanga tu. Even species, there is that cumulative damage that is going to be created, that this man is not ever saying the truth. He doesn't mean his words. And Kenyans will lose trust in the political leadership. Now, when Kenyans lose trust in that leadership, then what does it mean? The Azimio messaging on the anti-government rants gains traction. That's it. But then that's what is, people are thinking about, Raila anataka uongozi. No, I don't look at it that way, because all of us agree that elections, we are done with elections. There is no election we're going to do again. But why do you think these hundreds of thousands are still trooping on Azimio? It's because they're losing the trust. Lastly, he will not be able to project a scorecard if indeed he will have one. In fact, if I was to just advise, unsolicited advice, let President retreat to State House. And atoke State House, aende afanye event, asiende na wanasiasa, hata wacha Rigathi. Enda, launch, fanya, nyamaza, rudi State House. Enda, launch, fanya, rudi State House. The way Uhuru used to do. Otherwise, the more you are in public, you are making these statements, the media is covering it, it's already diluting what could be available. That's my take. Let's meet in the next.